Jackie Kashian, Laurie Kilmartin.
Ja, Laurie. It's happening. I get to see your whole face.
Wow.
That's good. It's positioned for yoga.
I've always seen my whole face, Jackie. So the fact that I show up in clips as a hairline has always been disturbing to me. I don't understand it.
No, I don't either. I did email. Well, I had a lot of exciting me grinding it out, trying to get some work this week, and I got some work. That's good. I got a little bit of work on the cruise ship may not happen because they are not being clear. Like, I'm getting snippets of information, and I was like, where is it going? Will I need a visa? I do need to know if I need a visa or my passport.
A work
like
I imagine that.
Am I trapped on the boat?
Yeah, you're just working on the boat that has. I imagine they've figured all that shit out, that you don't have to get a visa. You're in international waters.
No, it turns out I do need a visa.
Really?
Yes, and I need travel insurance. And I don't know if they're like, I said, well, I have airline preferences. If you want to use a different airline, just give me the budget and I'll book it myself. And I've gotten no response to that. I received a handbook that I said, wait, you told me it was one 45-minute set that I would repeat, that was clean, and one 30-minute set that could be whatever, and just different. And the handbook says something like 3 different 45-minute sets and a 30-minute set. And I was like, and they go, oh, the handbook's dated. It's not current. And I was like, could I have current? Would that be all right?
Just like initial, cross out 3 different initial.
Right. And then, right. Can I line veto your handbook? And,
yes.
And then, but the weird thing is, and the one thing was, I always have to be dressed normal. Like I have to be dressed not formal, but one time there's formal dress. And I was like,
do you need like a gown?
Well, that's what I said. I said, do I need a gown? And they said, no, if you have a nice outfit. And I said, okay. You just don't want me to dress like an animal because I'm at work. I can do that. That's fine. And
Jackie, clearly they've had too many male comics on the lineup showing up in their backwards baseball hats.
Right. And then they're like, you can have adult beverages, but if you are drunk, and I was like, I'm fine. And then they said, but you can't gamble at all. And I was like, what about my other addictions? Am I not allowed to, you don't want my $3,000 back? And then
that's interesting.
And then they take a percentage, just like my agent.
Okay.
I was like, well,
that's not shocking.
We're not shocking, except for that they're the bookers.
So it seems like double dipping a little. Gotcha.
So I don't know if it's going to happen, is what I'm saying. But I'm willing to try.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Who knows? Who knows if I like it?
I've been listening.
Better people than me haven't. Anyway, but go ahead.
I've been listening to Greg Barron's. He's making the podcast rounds because he's promoting his memoir, which is a great listen, as I said, I think last week. But he's been talking about Ampardo and maybe a little bit on Andy Richter's podcast, just how he likes it, like he's enjoying it, and they saved his ass. So, and Greg's a really smart, like, alt act. You wouldn't expect, someone who reigns supreme at Largo to love cruises, but, he does. So they've got to have something going for him.
Right. I think that I think it also depends on the sort of the attitude you go in with. If you're fine, yeah, you're just like, it's like anything. If you choose to try to like it, you have better odds of liking it.
Yeah.
So what the heck?
Right.
How was Dayton?
It was fun.
Good.
The crowds were pretty kooky. There was a lot going on. So yeah, that was
you got
fun.
clips? Yeah.
I will have clips. I'm still clipping out my punchline stuff, and I'm getting faster at clipping. I do have my routine now. Like I was trying everyone's like, you gotta try this, like it's overwhelming. Everyone's formula, it's like skincare. Everyone's formula for success is completely different. And if
Right.
you mention one thing, they'll be like, oh, that's shit. And no one agrees on anything, right? So
Okay.
right now, I think I'm gonna edit just the footage in iMovie, get it down to like whatever the 2 to 5 minutes it is, and then take it to Kapwing, that they do the captions I like, and also their interface is easy to look at on a laptop. CapCut's interface has like too much happening, and I don't know how to
Okay.
get rid of some of these unnecessary windows, and it's just I don't know, whatever. So whatever I think is easiest for you is
Is
the
the way
best
to
way to
go.
do it.
Yeah. If you can,
uh,
if you can grind them out.
yes,
It's
people keep telling me how shitty iMovie is, but it is, but I can I can use it, and I don't
yeah.
want to keep learning software.
Right. Right. My Adobe Express, the interface changed so greatly that I'm
Ugh,
like, where are the flyers that I just
right.
redo? I mean, where's all the templates that I used to have? How do I change the font? What is happening? And
Yeah.
so that's where I'm at with that. And very annoying.
Did you try Canva yet?
No, I haven't tried Canva. It's it would be Andy would have to, because Andy has the monthly Adobe
Oh,
package,
right, right,
which is
right,
something
right.
like $1 gajillion.
Yeah,
And I was, he's like, well, I could just get rid of that and we could both move on to other things. And I'm like, yes. And then he hasn't done it. But then it turns out our lives are pretty busy. So
um
yeah.
I hate this, that we have a subscription to an app instead of just buying it one time and getting updates. I fucking hate it. I
Right.
mean,
That's when they did that,
so
it was
irritating.
it's the injustice of that is exactly like when they told us that cable was going to be no
Right. Cheaper.
ads,
Yeah, all that
and it
stuff.
was going to
Yeah.
be ad free. That's what you're paying for monthly. There's not going to be any ads. And then now it's got as many ads as television as when we were children, if not more.
I know.
And you have to watch the TikTok go down. You're like, 3 ads at 60 seconds each? What? And right. I mean, I don't know about you, Laurie, but I'm watching a great deal of television. There's a lot of television in my life,
Yeah.
and I did put on, because Chris is watching all these comedy specials. I did a set the other night, a show the other night with Trey Crowder, and
Yeah.
so I was like, well, let's see if Trey Crowder has a because remember, Chris is both gay and from Mississippi. So so I was like, Trey Crowder's from very rural Tennessee,
Mhm.
and Jared Logan's from very rural. Actually, I think he's from the South Carolina, like a college town.
You know who
But
else is from Mississippi is Jay Jordan.
Jay
Uh,
Jordan, how
who's Jordan? Jay
how do you
Jordan.
how do you spell
J
Jordan?
U R D E N.
Okay,
He's from Mississippi, and he's gay. And
okay,
of course, Roy Woods is from Alabama. So, I mean, if you're going to hit the South,
right. It's yeah, that could happen. Um, okay, I'm writing those down.
Uh, yes. To continue my Dayton
Yeah,
weekend, though. So, the hotel is like 15 minutes from the club. Like, you have to be driven.
yeah.
And it's in the middle of a hotel park of hotels. So
So if you want to
there's,
go anywhere, you have to take yourself onto a frontage road.
yes, there's,
Remember
and
those gigs? Yeah.
yes, Ohio. It's weird. Different clubs in Ohio, it just seems like a tradition to put the comic in some sort of hotel that's part of a hotel park, and they just
And
assume everyone's driving, I think, because
well,
I'd say most of their comics are Midwest based,
right.
right?
And that's all of them. When I when I drove the road in the 90s, it was
Yeah.
all frontage road stuff. So But then you would just, go take your life in your own hands and walk to the nearest, even Cap City. Remember when Cap City used to put you up in that weird under the highway, and then you'd have to walk, and you're like,
Yeah.
I would like a ride home if that's okay. Just because
Right.
on the way here it's light, on the way home it's 1 a.m. and I'm in an overpass. Less positive.
I know.
Even in the 90s.
Oh, I know. I remember that. Going to whatever. Yeah. So, I on Saturday I treated myself to coffee, and it was a $20 lift to this place that sounded cool, Ghost Light Coffee. $20.
How'd you find it? How'd you find Ghost Light? It's $40.
The internet.
No,
yeah.
Well, because if you Yelp pour over coffee, you will find wherever the bearded youth are hanging out in any town.
Okay. Well, I just thought it sounded cool, and and the review said it was a good place to work. And so I get there, and they're out of bread completely. I was like, I'm gonna get a sandwich. I was looking at their menu. This is right up my alley. A sandwich and a nice coffee, and hang out for a couple hours. They're out of bread, and they closed at 2. I got there at 1. I'm like, oh my God. So, but they made me a BLT over roasted potatoes, which I grudgingly rolled my eyes to, and it was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah.
But still, it was a $50
sandwich
BLT
and cup of coffee.
and coffee to treat myself. I don't know. But yeah, so that happens in I think some of these Midwest clubs have most of the comics driving to it. And so
that's why I rented a car in Seattle.
Seattle, that hotel isn't, you're within walking distance
walkable,
of stuff.
But it's, it was just an example because I have really old friends who live in different parts of Seattle.
That's
but whenever I do, if I were to go to Albany or Buffalo, or if I could get booked in Ohio, I would rent a car, just because for $100 for 2 nights, that's as many Ubers as I'm going to take. That's as many lifts as I'm going to take. Yeah.
If you'll recall, when I was in Cincinnati, the rentals were $70 a day, and it was about half of the airfare. It was like, no, it wasn't worth it.
Yeah. But I do think it's worth looking into, just because of flexibility and the ability. Yeah, because if I am going to take, if I'm going to take a handful of lifts, and I do, I go to the bookstore, I go to coffee shops, I end up spending $300 on cabs and lifts and stuff. But yeah,
I brought a ton of food because it was such a short
That's
gig.
right.
I brought a ton of fruit.
Did you bring bread? You should have brought bread with you to the.
I should have. You know what? Next time I will bring bread to not only my gigs, but my restaurants. Yes. And then I made my little smoothies in my room, which, I love. I love my little Ninja blender. It's one of the best things I've ever purchased for the road.
Well, that's cool. The lateral story regarding groceries and restaurants is I used to go to Hugo's a lot back when I had the day job in the early 2000s, and they have, and to this day they have a giant sign at all the different. Hugo's is like it's a relatively fancy hamburger and salad place here in Los Angeles. There's one on Riverside, there's one over in West Hollywood. So there's always a sign at the door that says you can't bring your own groceries in. And I was like, what on earth is happening? And I was told, and this feels like a caricature of Los Angeles, is people would bring in groceries that they had bought at the Whole Foods across the street and say, can you make the meal with these foods? Yes.
Outrageous.
I was like, who was it? Was it Oprah? And the kid working, the woman working the thing said, if it would have been Oprah, they might have done it. It was like Oprah or Barbara Streisand. Otherwise, no. And so, yeah, it's so weird that people they're like, I need to know it's organic. And you're like, nope.
Yeah, and I don't even think you can trust that it's organic coming from from Whole Foods. I said I wanted to talk about Netflix as a joke, and
Oh,
so I
okay.
almost just said Netflix. But I'm just so relieved it's over
Oh,
because
is okay.
for those of
Is
us, I think that's the three of us who weren't part of the festival, the amount of graphics and promo that has been flooding my feed has
I didn't even know it was happening. I emailed someone at Netflix to ask if they wanted to go to lunch, and I got an automatic thing back that said, "Hey, Netflix is a joke comedy festival is going on. I won't be available for a week and a half or something like that." And I
yeah.
was like, "Oh, is it happening now?" So I didn't know that it was going on. So,
Oh,
but
it
I'm
has
glad
been
it's
going on.
over. I'm
I
glad
am
it's
so
over.
relieved it's over. I have seen, this is what, like, maybe comics of, Jackie, you're of my generation. The you do it though, so you've learned to do it, is the post gig wrap up of the gig and the thanking and the crediting and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's like
That's
it's
new. Yeah.
it's so it makes me cringe when I see it, and I know I'm
Yeah.
supposed to do it. The
Yeah.
thanks, had great shows at da da da, love my da da da. Oh my god, okay,
Right. And to
like,
also take a picture with the staff and,
when does this
yeah.
gig end? Didn't it end on Saturday night? Why am I hearing about it on Thursday?
Yes.
My god. And it
Yes.
all, to me, it always looks like that was your only show of the year, if you're so excited about it, you know
Right. But no, everybody's just psyched every show. They're like, and the next time and the next time.
is this leading more people to try to do comedy because they think it's just so cool? Like, you just show up, you do these gigs with your friends, and they're fun, and you
You
can't
take a
stop talking
picture with a
about them.
giant
Yes.
crowd behind you. And,
Oh yes,
um,
it was all great, and it's so easy, and it's like, no one, it's so rare to see anyone reflect the actual anxiety and depression that comes with being a stand-up comic and trying to have a career, maintain a career, keep a career. All the things you have to do is actually really wearing on the soul, and part
but
of
the
the
most fun is doing the stand up. That's what
yep,
all I want to do. That's all I
it
want to
is,
do. Yeah.
it is. But you the pictures don't the pictures make it seem like a cool party,
Oh, right. Because of
and
Instagram. Yeah.
that's not what
Yeah.
it is. It's when your joke works. That's when it's incredible. It's not the
Right.
hanging out, the pictures afterwards. It's like when you're actually taking them, your face is frozen, the camera doesn't work. Oh, let me try one more. Let me try one more. Okay, like, that's not even fun, and we're pretending it's fun to have our picture taken. You know, like, it's presenting, what it's presenting is the cool part of stand up isn't, in my opinion, really. It's the on stage part.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
don't
the
know.
only fun part. And when I don't do stand up often enough, I get grumpy. A couple of times, I only had a couple of sets this week. I ended up picking up extra sets over at Flappers, which was great. Thank you, Josh.
Yay.
And
Yay.
but what was the name of the guy? Yeah, a German guy named Mario Albion. Have you heard of this guy? He's a male model, and he's probably, yeah,
Yeah.
he's very beautiful. He's a very beautiful young man, and he was wearing capris, and I was like, oh, I guess capris are cool. And then and I never heard of him. He was super nice. He was German, and I was like, "Oh, did you start in Germany?" He was like, "No, I started here." And I'm waiting for my green card and my visa to come through. And we talked. It was nice. It was him and Trey Crowder and somebody else. Damn it. Anyway, and then he left the room, and I was like, "What was that guy's last name?" Oh, it was Michael Gelbar. And so I type his name, and I think it was Michael or Trey or somebody goes, "He's a YouTube guy. He just started doing stand up." And so I go to I go to his Instagram, and it's a gajillion people. And I guess his bio says retired male model and comedian.
I'm
And
sorry, but that is a winning combo. And maybe because he's foreign, I can't even be jealous. I'm like, go for it. Exploit take whatever you can from America.
I'm sorry I missed his set because we were just sort of talking. Plus, I like Trey Crowder so much. He's such a good guy.
Yeah, and he's so funny.
Yeah, oh God, he's a great comic. But only like a dozen years in, maybe 12, 15 years in. So I just know he's just going to keep getting better. So, because he's so good now. Anyway, was I jealous this week? I was jealous enough because Marcella's doing After Midnight for like the fourth time. And she is, so I'm super jealous about that.
She is she is the After Midnight queen.
Well, I think she's asked, and then I think she asks a lot, and sold herself as that, and then now she gets to be that. And so I would like to sell her that too. But that's how her people sold her, as that. And I was like, how do I? What's the pitch on that? Because I would like to make that pitch too. But no, I like her so much, and she's really good at it and fun. So
she's great at it.
Yeah,
she's great at it. I had a Mother's Day show at Flappers.
Oh, right. With
okay,
Augie.
So first of all, let me just backtrack because I watched both hacks on Saturday night after my show at Dayton, and then I was in it. There's a lot of
the TV
comics.
show or the people you were working with. What are you talking about?
No, I worked with good comics.
Okay, thank God.
Gay Kia, and so of course, A, I would love to write on that show, and B, if I couldn't do that, I would love to be when they're using actual comics, be one of the comics. Yeah. And I was neither. And they had a lot of comedians on. And,
did they?
So that plus my son's father kept me up all night resenting things. I had a night of like
just feeling.
What was it? The night of 1,000 knives, but they're in my head. I'm like, this is not a good place to go. But I was
You're just reliving. And does the story change every time you tell it to yourself, or does it?
I'm not reliving. I'm creating new pathways, new neural anxiety and resentment and jealousy pathways in my brain. And I stayed up all night to do that, and I got no sleep. Right. So I have a 7:20 flight out of Dayton and connecting through Dallas, and no sleep, nothing.
Boo.
Get home. Oh, I flew out of LAX. Ugh.
Okay.
I parked in economy parking. I left my cell phone on the shuttle. So I'm barely able to stand, and I had to wait for the shuttle to come around, which is great.
That is amazing. Good.
Tip the gal $20. Mm-hmm. And then I finally get home and I take a brief nap, and then I have 2 nights of shows. I have a headlining at Flappers, and then I'm doing a little short set on Taylor Williamson's show at the Elysian. Jackie, I was seeing stars on stage. I was so tired and not together. Yeah. And then at Flappers, somebody had a medical emergency
during your show.
During the show.
Wow.
And so there was, what are you doing right now?
Nothing. I'm someone had a medical emergency at your show. Finish the story. Are you having a resentment right now?
Because you don't listen. You're like, I'm like, all right. Well,
okay.
You were
what was it?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. The dogs keep jumping on me, so I'm just trying to push the dogs away. So tell me.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I gotcha.
I got you.
No, it's not that incredible of a story. It doesn't to go back to. But so someone had a seizure, and then several.
Wait, you are wrong. That story's amazing. At Flappers, someone had a seizure during the Mother's Day.
Correct.
Show.
And
then
so
EMTs had to come in.
Well, I'm happy to finish it because I was there.
Oh, thank God.
You can keep guessing, though. That's an interesting way for me to tell a story.
Oh, that's a classic.
So there were several nurses and a doctor, and the doctor apparently had just got off his shift and didn't want to. Then he jumped up, and then so they all went over to the corner, and they called an ambulance, and an ambulance came, and she was taken out. And I assume she's okay. That they said afterwards that it looked like she would be okay. That it wasn't, anything beyond what it was. So,
but no
that's
closure.
good. But that was, there's not no one's going to call me up and tell me. I'm assuming we're okay. And then there was awkwardness on stage, as one can imagine. I mean, and you can't really do any jokes about the situation because somebody might actually be in trouble.
Right. There's not a medical emergency.
Right. It's not like a drunk you can trash as they're walking out. Like if someone's being wheeled out to a paramedic, you all just go, good luck. We did I led a Tinkerbell clap from the audience, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do, So it was a weird one.
I always thought Tinkerbell claps would be, you have to believe. I always called that a golf clap, but I prefer Tinkerbell clap. It's more delicate.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone wanted to feel like they would play a part in her full recovery.
How'd the show go? Was Augie there?
Oh,
yeah.
Augie was great. He's so funny. Augie Smith is so funny. Yeah, he was great, and he and his wife had a date. It was their date night. So Augie was dressed. He looked good. I'm like, I would prefer, had you told me you're wearing a 3-piece suit, I would have worn something better, or maybe
a gown.
my soon-to-be cruise gown. And he killed. He's hilarious. And again, I felt a little weak on stage. Like just wiped.
Right. And so tired.
And then my story, something happened to my Nicaragua story that I need to figure out what I lost because it's dwindling. And so I have to go listen to like 8 of them today. That's my task for today, my creative task, to figure out what lines I dropped or how I ruined it, because I have clearly ruined it.
I have the 4 sets from Seattle that I have not yet listened to, that I know that there's so many great lines in there. Yeah. I did 3 sets at Flappers, and I think the manager, one of the managers was liked all 3 of my sets so bad that they just sent me copies of them. They're like, you're going to want these. And I was like, no, all that material's so new. I don't want copies of them, but I do want to listen to them so that I can, figure out what I said right. But I should listen to all those Seattle sets because it was all happening then.
Yeah.
And
with the Karen stuff, the
Karen stuff,
rental car,
right?
Yeah.
And I only had 10-minute sets, so I couldn't work on everything because I have the new travel chunk about crying in the Sky Club, and then I have the new Karen thing, which I've decided to just sort of make happen the same day, just because I can't.
Sure.
Nobody wants. Only you, Jackie and Laurie listeners, will know that this happened a week later. And I had 2 weeks of crazy travel stories. I'm just going to put it all in 1 week because otherwise I'll have to explain.
You're a storyteller. Yes.
Right.
This
Otherwise,
this is the writing part. Otherwise, we just go up and say how our day went and be boring as fuck. Okay, deal with it.
Right. That's how it has to happen. And but I got to try the new stuff, and I got to try it like 3 times because somebody was late. And so they gave me an extra set in the main room on Saturday night. So I have a bunch of sets in town this week, which is good. Like I'm doing the Crow, and then I'm doing Jetpack, and I'm doing Flappers a couple of times. I'm also doing a weird Max Fun benefit where we're going to play Dungeons and Dragons. And it's left over from the fun drive, Max Fun Drive. And then I think next Monday I'm at the Roguelike Tavern over by Yeah,
I love that gig.
Yeah, that's a fun gig.
Is that Hunter's?
I don't know,
Hills?
probably. Yeah.
I think it is. I think he does the Monday there.
And
well, that's
so
cool.
I'm looking so I'm doing later today, I'm doing Jen Kober's podcast. And we're going to go to Louisiana together. I'm going to get to finally go to Louisiana and do stand-up comedy. I'm going to go see Liz Winstead's documentary, Literally No One Asked You, which is about abortion.
What I know, I'm doing Love It or Leave It on that Thursday night
Right.
that Liz's documentary is
Are you
airing.
hosting or are you just doing it?
I'm just doing it, but Larry Wilmore is hosting it, so
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. I have to like dig deep and figure out like what exactly what our format is and stuff. But I don't think I can make the documentary because I
Right.
think it's a competing time. I would love to see it.
Yeah.
I'm
And
oh go.
oh, I was just gonna, and I'm also doing this awesome, Kyle Ayers, right?
Yes. Oh my God. He has a one person show that he's doing in the Northwest. I tweeted it.
Okay, great. He was the one who created Boast Rattle. And
Oh.
yeah, which is instead of a roast battle, you have to say nice things about
Yeah.
somebody, which is hard. I
Yeah.
think even harder than being mean.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, the one person I saw do, and it got canceled, so I didn't actually get to see him on stage, but he just knocked stuff out in passing, was Mike Lawrence. Remember Mike Lawrence?
I love Mike Lawrence.
Like Mike Lawrence is such a great writer.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think there's just so much. But the Kyle Ayers thing that I'm doing is I have to write a 3 to 6 page script or storyboard document of about a movie I've never seen.
Oh yeah. Right.
And it might be called Strings. I forget what it's called, but
Yeah.
I have never. I gave him Lawrence of Arabia, Godfather 2 and 3, and The Big Lebowski, and he picked The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
So I'm gonna write. I have to write that, and that just sounds hilarious. I got a couple of samples. I got someone who hadn't seen Ant-Man, someone who had never seen Mad Men, and someone who had never seen My Cousin Vinny. So
Cool.
Yeah, the samples I got were super funny. So
he has, and I don't know the name of the disease, but it's coined the suicide disease because it's so painful and baffling. And
Kyle does?
Kyle Ayers does, yes. He's doing a one-man show about his material. I saw a little bit of his material about it at a show like in the last 6 months. It's fucking great. It's really dark.
Right.
And he has a whole show about it, which if you're in Portland, or I think he's in Eureka, Seattle, someplace else up there, try to find him because it's amazing. It's amazing stuff.
Wow. And he's such a good guy.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that he's hilarious, just so you know.
Yeah. Right. I'm doing Floodwater Comedy Festival this Saturday.
Right. That's right.
It's in Iowa City. I'm flying into Cedar Rapids, and I'm flying in a day early because I don't want to.
You can't tell. You can't
tell, and to have to go through the travel to get to most Midwest cities that involves a layover someplace. It's fucking awful, so not only say you get to the gig on time, you're still in a terrible mood. You feel like shit. You had to wake up at 5 a.m. Like, that's not how I want to come to a theater show where I'm doing an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I always come in the day early. Yeah, you don't have to convince me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just because I do West Coast stuff. Like if it's San Francisco, Bay Area, or Seattle, or Portland, if it's in the same time zone,
yes,
I'll fly and do and Southwest is mostly connecting, so
yeah,
that's fine. But if it's anywhere east of here, I want to have an extra day. I'll fly Phoenix probably too, same. Or if I ever did Salt Lake again, yeah. So
yeah. So that's becoming. I did that with Dayton too. I came in a day early. I got in, like around 10 p.m.
Yeah,
and then I
just come in that night. Then you could sleep it out.
Yeah, and have 2 full days in a hotel park. I mean, it really was a dream come true.
Well, you and your ninja had the time.
We did
to blend. And wait, let's take a break for the love of it all.
Okay.
And then who is our comic of the week? You found her.
Oh, okay. So she keeps popping up on my Instagram, and I think she's in New York. But her name's Alyce Chan, and it's Alyce with a Y, Alyce Chan, Chan. And isn't her
It's a Momcom NYC.
Yeah,
MOMCOM NYC.
Momcom, a mother comic, of course, and her reels that are separate are really funny, but her stand-up's really funny too. So
Right. So
I've never
check
worked
her
with
out.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. She sounds vaguely familiar. Her because I remember seeing Alyce with a Y before, so I might have worked with her. But
Oh, yeah.
maybe
I
that's
don't
how
know
they're
if I.
spelling Alyce now.
No, I think she might be the only Alyce with a Y that I could think of. Alyce
Okay.
Wetterland, of course, is an I. Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
we are open to more Alyce with Ys, and if there
Yes.
is one listening, please
Don't hold
make
back.
us aware of you.
Let me know.
But yeah, check out
She's great.
Momcom NYC on Instagram, Alyce Chan.
That is awesome.
I watched Nikki's special on the flight home. It's
okay.
really, really good. It's really dark. She has a closer that is very risky, and it's where she pulls together a lot of themes at the very end. It's very physical, and she's acting out a gangbang, but bringing in some other issues. So it's really sort of epic. And I keep wondering, like, how did she start tiny and then go, I'm going full? Or like, you can't do that whole thing all at once the first time. You got to like act out a little bit and go, well, to this, I think. But you know,
she's
she
not
looks
humping a stool, is she? No, I'm kidding.
But she's leaning back on a stool.
Oh, that is okay. All right.
It is risky, but it's because of everything she'd done before, and she's sort of putting it all together. It really worked, and it was really great.
She's a great comic. She really is.
It's on HBO. Check it out. Yeah, for sure.
It's funny because the specials I've been recommending to because Rory Scovel. We tried to watch Rory Scovel, and you know how Rory he'll just say something over and over and over and over. It's a little Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah.
And it's funny, it's not funny, it's funny again. And if you've watched a lot of Dry Bars, Rory
That's
Scovel,
not going to hit with you.
Rory Scovel's going to be you're going to have to sort of lean in and just sort of wait for it. Yeah. So
right.
Yeah, I genuinely like Rory Scovel a great deal.
Yeah,
so,
I do too. I have all the Everybody's in LA downloaded and ready to watch on my flights to Iowa City. Just the clips I've seen have been really, really cool and fun. And even though I was not a part of it.
Oh, the Netflix is a joke thing? Okay.
But it was John Mulaney's thing, and like tons of, whatever. It's obviously a very elite crew of comics and stuff, but it's just like it feels like lately everything is starring tons of comedians, Pop-Tarts or whatever Seinfeld's thing is. Like, oh, all right. Like no one even inquired.
Right.
But that's okay. I still count, right, Jackie?
Yeah.
I'm still a person and a comedian in the city, correct?
Right. You still get to go up. Yeah, you still you got passed at the store, Laurie.
Yes.
It's all working out.
It's starting to happen. What if my career just starts to take off now?
I was watching Ed Sullivan yesterday. Oh, so much television. And they were just showing old stand-up sets, and one of them was Rodney Dangerfield. And it was Rodney Dangerfield when he was probably 40.
Yeah.
And at the time it felt I had just heard a story about how one of his great regrets in life was starting comedy so late. And I was like, well, Rodney, you made it pretty big pretty quick then. I mean, you didn't have decades of being frustrated that nobody gave a shit. How about that? Because sometimes, right?
It's true, but if you look at his personality, I think he had decades of being frustrated.
Oh, right, yeah.
When he
about other things, when he was in sales.
Aluminum siding. Yeah, right.
Sure, I think that guy was born frustrated that he wasn't a big enough deal. So, very possible.
I mean,
very
welcome
possible.
to my head, Rodney. It's whatever. It's just so comedy is so popular right now, and it's so strange I hope Gen Z coming into comedy is a little more, a little less earnest, and a little more like us in a
Oh,
way.
I don't know. I mean, there's always going to be the edgelords of every generation. So there's going to be plenty of Gen Z
I don't mean
irreverent,
Yeah, I mean more just the shame at the constant promotion. This
Oh,
current cycle of nonstop promotion, it cannot last. It won't.
no. Well,
Nothing lasts forever. All these phases go, they come and they go. So this won't last. But right now, it is. I just feel like every day, objects from a hurricane are being thrown on my head. And
right.
please,
Well,
or not a tornado. Sorry, please. It's just got to move on.
I have this new social media woman so that my brain can hurt. And so I did a 2-hour, I've done several sessions. It's the woman who got me, she's Ophira's social media person. And also
Laura?
Yeah, Laura Vogel.
She got me verified on Instagram.
Yeah, it took her about 7 hours. Yeah. So, she got me verified on Instagram. She fixed my YouTube in less than 10 minutes. I'm now monetizing my YouTube, which I wasn't able to do for a decade. So, because I put things in the wrong order, you guys.
Right.
And so the tips and strategy for, she's like, you post too much, Jackie. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, try to post like once a day. I know that you post all day and some of it's just interesting. And I posted this thing about Mother's Day and I put the things in the wrong order. So the history of Mother's Day from the Library of Congress is the initial image. And I had a session with her yesterday about how to do Facebook ads. And she was like, when we finished the Facebook ads, she said, can I just talk to you real briefly about one of your posts real quick? And then she shared the screen. She shared the screen and she was like, because if you go past it, you get a picture of my mother, you get a picture of my stepmother, you get a picture of my grandmother, my great aunt. And she's like, any one of these pictures would have been a great initial picture. And then the thing about the Library of Congress made.
Oh, you did a carousel and you opened with the wrong picture?
Yes, that's what they are called. They are called a carousel. Who knew that they were called a but that as soon as you said that word, I was like, oh, I bet you that's exactly what they're called. Yeah. So I opened with the wrong picture and I was like, well, I couldn't make the size. You couldn't read the thing if I put it second or third. And she was like, okay, well, I can teach you how to do that. And I was like, okay, on your phone, if you do a screenshot and then you go to edit, there's a picture, there's a sizing picture thing on the upper right hand corner that I did not know was there. And one of them is not 9 by 16, but there's one that's close enough to that where there'll just be a little black above and below it. And I was like, okay. And then today I learned that if a video is longer than a minute, it should always be horizontal on YouTube. If it's less than a minute, it should always be vertical.
It's a short. Yeah.
And when you advertise, you should always advertise using a reel. You should always advertise a vertical image, never a horizontal image. And then we spent an hour.
When you advertise on Instagram and Facebook, it should always be a reel.
Yep, and it should always be vertical. So
okay.
And then tags are got over. There's no need to do tags.
Really?
Hashtags on you can do them if you like, but the algorithm, if there's too many, if there's more than 3, the algorithm thinks it's a promotion and will hide it. So it literally the algorithm gets mad if there's more than 3 hashtags. So
do you think there's some stuff I have that on my YouTube Shorts that has gotten nothing, and that others have?
I had 3 that had nothing, and I sent them to her, and she goes, "They're all listed as private, Jay." I was like, "Oh, that will be a problem. That will be a problem." And she said, when you post shorts, you can just the timing on posting YouTube Shorts doesn't matter as much as it does on Instagram and TikTok. So on YouTube Shorts, you can dump them all at once. You can do 10 at a time.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good to know. I felt like I've been like trying a short on YouTube Shorts just to see how it plays before I put it on Instagram. You know.
Oh, well, and the order is you do Instagram, and then you download their captions because they're really good, and then you use, but before you post it, obviously, and then you use that captioned video for TikTok, and you have also copied the description caption, and you paste that in, and then you always have a profile picture that you have to make sure that the grid one is good. And then you go to TikTok, and then you post a TikTok, and then you pick a good picture, then you label it. And then, but you could also do sort of tags in the video and then drag them off screen so that you don't look super thirsty. And then, but after, okay, wait, you do Instagram, then you do Facebook. You post the reel separately on Facebook. You don't have it push from Instagram to Facebook because Facebook also monetizes them.
So,
and Facebook has a different algorithm. So you post on Instagram, but you don't push it to Facebook. You post on Reels on Facebook, and then you post on TikTok, and then you post on YouTube. And I was like, what about Twitter? What about Threads? What about Blue Sky? And she goes, don't worry about those.
So no video on, I post
you can
a little
if you
video
want.
on Twitter.
You can if you want, but it's not.
I mean, I do feel like that's where I have the most followers. And so if people are going to come see a show, that might help them see a show. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's not going to get to new people where it will on the other apps. Will get to new people. You know?
Right. And the analytics on that is, she showed me the analytics and I was like, great. It was a lot.
I wonder if I should re-upload a bunch of things separately to Facebook that have been pushed from Instagram. Yes. So do I have to go take down the ones that were pushed from Instagram, or just
never delete from Instagram? Archive.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was also told. And
even just like the show promo stuff, just archive it.
Just archive it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And because you lose the numbers.
Lose what numbers?
The views.
Oh, the total.
It affects your analytics.
And then at the end of the year, when they review your account, they will look at your total views.
It goes on your permanent record. Yes.
So
you
have to be concerned about the dumbest things now. The stupidest things.
Right. Here's the good news. I have several sets this week with a lot of new material, which is good. Hey, let's take a quick second break, shall we?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still in town for like the next 3 weeks. I'm in town until June.
I have something like that starting in mid-June. I'm in town for like a month, unless I get something else. But I'm going to try to just hit the locals. Maybe I'll go to New York for a week or something.
Oh, there you go.
In fact, I will do that. And then
God, I wish. Yeah.
I will,
You're so lucky you have a place to stay in New York. It's really, I mean, I could stay with friends, but it's just nice.
It is. It is.
So,
I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. It's and you pick up sets. You pick up so many sets.
Yeah, that's fun.
And you could do Sirius XM too. You could probably do.
I guess so. I mean, I have to be invited to do it, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's various shows you could do.
I'm gonna ask if I can do the Corn TV show on for my July gig.
I don't know what that means.
San Francisco, K-Ron.
Well, here comes the parking ticket guy.
Is that truck still there?
It moved finally.
Yes,
it moved. I did call him and tell him. I didn't tell him I had called. Other neighbors, by the way, came by the house to sympathize. They're like, we can't believe this truck is still here. So
really?
Other people called the cops as well. The whole street was outraged.
That's it. That's perfect.
But yeah, so he just drove by, but
Do you know that Andy knows all of our neighbors? And we went over to a neighbor's house the other night for cheesy crackers.
Mm-hmm.
And we just hung out with, we just hung out with some neighbors outside.
I know a couple of my neighbors.
Have you socialized with them? I've never socialized.
No, not really. One of them is Carlos Alazraki, who I started stand up with. We accidentally live on the same street now. And he has 2 daughters. And it's so funny because their family reminds me of my family when I was growing up, 2 girls. And I don't know, just sometimes when I see him interact with his daughters, or like he was driving by on a motorcycle and he beeped at them. And they're like, "Hi, Dad." And I was like, oh, it's so teenage girl sister shit. It was really cute.
Right, because you have a boy and he has girls. It's
well, yeah, that just reminds me of me and my sister, being the sisters.
Oh, yeah. I had too many brothers. Yeah, and a sister. But the guy, one of the guys is he was a producer on Last Comic Standing. One of my neighbors. That's who we had cheese and crackers with. So
interesting. Did you get any hot goss on Last Comic Standing?
Well, no, he's moved on to any number of other reality TV shows, and he's currently looking for
seasons?
Work. He did the one that he did one of the 3 that I did.
Oh.
So a long time ago, and then moved on to other stuff. So, but.
Does he think they're ever going to bring it back?
I don't know. I didn't actually ask him about Last Comic Standing at all. I was just saying that that's what he does for a living. And so, they have 2 girls too, but they both live in New York City. So they're very successful. Yeah.
Okay.
Like the girls are like 23 and 26.
Oh,
so
great.
It's amazing. I think one of them went to Sarah Lawrence, and
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think
give me
some
of that reality show money. I didn't realize. Wow.
Well, I think that they I think the kids got scholarships, but also he might have been grinding it out for 40 years. So, because his wife mentioned that he used to, like right now he's in between, he doesn't have any work. And she said, he used to work on 3 reality shows at once. And I was like, wait, did you ever see him?
Holy shit.
So I think he was working like 90, 100 hours a week. Yeah. Probably because his kids, he was like, I'm so glad they're both graduated because I didn't have to, we couldn't afford college.
Now? Yeah.
Right. Because he doesn't have any work right now. So
I know it's I've had like a 80% income reduction. It's crazy. Thank God I got that big old fucking SBA loan, but I'll be paying it off. I mean, until I'm 85 years old. My expenses into my 80s are horrific. Mortgage and an SBA loan till I'm 85.
Right. I had to switch banks because my bank got bought by Chase. It was a fascinating. Well, what the heck? So my bank my boutique business bank got bought by Chase. So I have moved my business account to Amex, American Express. There's no brick and mortar, but it does. It's a free business account.
Okay.
And though, for some reason, I need checks. And so I had to order checks, like real paper checks. And they were like $50.
Oh, my God.
I know. I was like, well, now I have a stack of checks that I have to store somewhere that I'm never going to use. Except for that I did get I need a voided check to for my IRA or my Roth or whatever tiny retirement thing that I had. And so I'm glad I have checks. But yesterday I accidentally moved some money from my business account into my savings account, which is at Andy's credit union. That's where our joint savings and checkings are. That I sent it to the old bank account. So I called the Amex banking and I was like, hey, what happens? They're like, oh, it'll bounce around and then it'll come back to you. And I was like, well, will there be a fee that I did a bad thing? And they're like, maybe. And I'm like, and then I was like, well, can you stop it? I just did it 10 minutes ago. And they said, maybe. And so that means no, by the way.
I will say just to remind you that Chase did stop a Zelle that when somebody from Con Ed was trying to tell me they're about to turn off the electricity, and then they didn't get my Zelle, and then they didn't get the second one, and they're like, we're right around the corner, and only then did it click in. I'm being scammed, and I immediately called Chase, and they recalled the Zelles.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow, they're gonna turn off your Con Ed, so you. All right, that we've all fallen for some craziness.
Yeah.
Is that when did that happen? Yeah.
A couple, I don't know, like maybe within the last year. But I was walking Charmy, so I wasn't like I couldn't check anything. I was
right. Multitasking.
I don't want everything to go off. Yes.
That's exactly how it happened. I was multitasking and I sent it and I was like,
yeah,
because our bank also has, our credit union also has the word First in it. So I just went back to First Republic, and I don't have a bank account at First Republic anymore. It's closed. It's gone.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah. So that can happen. It can happen to the best people, Jackie.
Exactly.
I read about these like gaming, these gambling and gaming apps now. People are going to be losing everything in a day. You mean at least before you used to have to go to a casino to lose your life savings, right?
Oh,
you had to physically
5 or 6 years ago, Andy worked on a slot machine app. That was the one of the video games he worked on. He was like, and then he started a podcast called Ethics in Video Games. and then he actually, I believe, lost 2 jobs because he went into, because it was him and his buddy Shlomo, who teaches philosophy over at NYFA, New York Film Academy, and Andy teaches game design over at New York Film Academy, and Shlomo teaches philosophy, and so they talked about game design and the ethics of it and philosophy, and they did. There's probably 100 episodes. Ethics in Video Games, if you care, and then it's super cool. But he went down this rabbit hole with this podcast for so long that he would go into these job interviews and he would ask these big video game companies, well, do you guys have an ethics policy? And so he did not get 2 jobs or second interviews. And nobody's more employable than Andy Ashcraft. I'm not gonna lie to you. The guy's employable. But he was doing, like, when he stopped working for THQ, which was making Wii games and Nintendo Switch games, it went belly up. And then he went contract, and he was making iPad games. He made an amazing car game that he then said Hot Wheels made it better 2 years later. But it was very funny. But he made a Cars, the movie Cars. He made that game for Disney, and he made a couple other games for iPad for Disney. And then he started making phone games because iPad games became less niche. And then everybody was just playing games on their phones. And now he's making like medical video games for the state.
That's he is very employable.
Yeah.
He's just listed 8 careers.
Right.
Here's what's scary is you could be married to somebody who starts gaming and gambling away your money at home while they're watching football.
Yep.
I mean, you can lose everything, ladies, if your husband starts gambling.
And they
on
can
football.
too. Yeah.
And you can do it during they're making it so easy for people to just start throwing away a little bit of money. And once you start throwing 5 or 10, that's the thing with the lottery. At least I have to go to 7-Eleven and I have to pay cash. It's a pain in the ass. Okay.
Oh, I'm sure there's an app to streamline that.
Don't tell me about it.
Don't tell me about it. Well, I put a horse app on my dad's tablet, and luckily he doesn't care about his tablet. He would rather just watch the Grit channel for 1,000 hours. But I will say the Kentucky Derby was last weekend or the weekend before or something like that. I think I already told you this, that he didn't bet on the Kentucky Derby because it would have cost him $7.
See, I love somebody that's prevented from gambling away their fortune by being cheap. That's the way to do it.
Right.
I thank my mom for being a cheap fuck. I am a cheap fuck when it's where I'm like I
that's
spent
how generational wealth is created.
Sure. I spent a little bit of money on crypto during a good phase, and I didn't spend any more. And I've seen it just crater and go, you know what? Lesson learned. I'm not
Isn't Gronk?
I'm not having diamond hands.
What was that Nikki Glaser joke about even Gronk? It was like that, not real money.
So
that was
funny.
so funny that Tom Brady lost like $33 billion or something like that on crypto.
Yes,
Bitcoin?
something. Yeah.
was
not Bitcoin,
insane.
but something else, one of the lesser ones. But
No, it was Bitcoin, according to the joke. And that's where I get that's where I get my news, you guys. I recommend that's how you get your news. That's how I found out that Amazon Fresh had hired thousands of people to stare into cameras, and it wasn't some fancy AI that when you pick things up from the counter. That's how I found out that they're actually hired people to watch you shop. And I found that out on After Midnight, something I'd like to be on again. Yes.
Yes. All right. So we're going to wind down. I'm going to plug my gigs real quick.
Okay.
I will be at Off Cabot in Beverly, which is a suburb of Boston. Boston people, come out for this. That is like the very last weekend in June, like I think the 28th and 29th. I will be very soon. I will be at Vermont Comedy Club in Burlington.
When is
May
that?
31st through June 1st.
Okay.
7th and 8th, I will be in Milwaukee at the Laughing Tap. And June 5th, this is hella important if you're in Portland, even on down to Corvallis, on up to Tacoma. I am at Helium in Portland for... That's right. Make the drive. One night, not Seattle. I want to touch laughs. Make the drive. Come to Portland. Come to my Helium show so that I can actually get a real week at Helium. I feel like this is my audition to see if I'm a draw. So help me out, Jackie and Laurie listeners. Bring a friend. Come to the show. It's one night only. I will be pumped beyond belief. So
this is all
let's
June,
make
you
it happen.
guys. And are all those dates on Kilmartin.com?
They're on LaurieKilmartin.com. Kilmartin.com also defaults to Laurie Kilmartin. There's so many ways to access me and my calendar. And of course, I'll be in Iowa City this weekend. If you're anywhere in Iowa, I believe this will be my one and only appearance in Iowa for the year. I don't have Iowa on the books.
Right. So yeah, wow, the wind.
I don't know.
It's my turn. If we're doing June, I can do June because May I'm in LA. You guys follow me around, find me.
Yeah.
So on the 7th, I'm in. It's the 8th actually of June. I'm doing different towns in Wisconsin. I'm doing Hayward, Wisconsin on the 8th. I'm doing, I think it's Eau Claire on the following Thursday. Yeah, the Thursday the 13th. And then the 14th, I'm doing a Don't Tell in Milwaukee. Don't tell anyone. And then Saturday, I'm doing a weird music fest in Madison, Wisconsin. So go to my JackieKashian.com or FamilyPetAncestry.com, which goes to JackieKashian.com because that's funny. And so on the 8th, I'm in Hayward. The 13th, I'm in Eau Claire. The 15th, I'm in Madison. And then I'm doing the Improv Levity with Maria, the Irvine Improv on Sunday, the 23rd of June. And then I'm doing the Portland Helium with Maria on the last week of June, 27, 28, 29. I am doing with Maria. But I'm coming back to do one night in Portland myself in July. And it's the day before my fucking birthday. So feel free in July 19th. Laurie's birthday is the 16th.
Now you know it. Finally, I just shame you publicly.
Exactly. Well, see, because the 16th, 17th, and 18th, I'm in San Francisco doing the Punchline, and I think this is some sort of test to find out if I can fill San Francisco Punchline so that I can work a weekend. So you have a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in July, 16, 17, 18, to come and see me in. Oh shit! My July is actually crazy. I'm in Bloomington, Indiana, in July, the 12th and 13th. The 16, 17, and 18, I'm in San Francisco. The 19th, I'm doing Portland. The 20th, I'm doing Eugene, and the 21st, I'm doing Eugene, Oregon. And then let's see, anything else? That's July. So June and July, that's what I'm doing. And then Andy's going to Gen Con in Indianapolis. So I'll be back in LA. So my June and July are huge. Feel free to come see me in various towns. So thanks for listening to the Jackie and Laurie show. Thank you, Kyle. Kyle Clark, you guys. Kyle Clark is rad.
Here.
Follow him. Find him. He's always there. And then Laurie Kilmartin. We have a Patreon. Max Fun is available. I'm working on new stickers.
Ooh, I wanted to run by doing a Zoom on Wednesday night. If you want to try a Zoom tomorrow night.
Wait, the night that this comes out?
Yeah.
I'm at the Crow with Macy Isaacs. So
what time?
That's at 8:00. So we could do it 5:00 if you want.
Let's well, our Patreons will find out about it, and you can join immediately if you want to be part of it.
Ooh, I like
if we do it, and then we'll let our Max Funners know as well. So
right, I believe 5 p.m. Wednesday could be. We'll feel free to email me Jackie@JackieCation.com, and I'll tell you how to get a Zoom link for 5 p.m. Wednesday
we'll bring
Zoom.
Yeah. All right, we'll discuss.
Kyle, you want to set, Kyle?
Yeah.
Are you working tomorrow?
Let's bring.
I'll figure it out because you said the word set, so now
It's
I'm
tonight.
interested. Doesn't take much.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Well, it won't be just me and you. Like we had an emergency Zoom.
Very
because I needed
impromptu.
to try something. Yes, from a car.
All right, I'll go make a Zoom link.
Okay.
I like all of you.
All right.
I'm gonna leave.
Catch you later.
All right. Bye.